G'day guys, welcome to today's tutorial. Today we are talking about the barbell split squat. Really good exercise to start transitioning into maybe a Bulgarian split squat or working on your overall walking lunges and or dumbbell lunges, barbell lunges, that type of area, purely because it is the stationary position in which that we are in a staggered stance like this. We're going up and down and we're working on just our ability to control our negative and our concentric pattern when it comes to a lunge. So really good basic foundation exercise. Those who struggle to keep their balance and their form with lunges and Bulgarians, I do strongly suggest maybe taking that step back, maybe diving into some just some good old-fashioned split squats and just building their foundation up first, then moving back into those exercises. It very much mimics, say, a Smith machine lunge, or a Smith machine lunge, purely because of the fact that we're again on that same spot going up and down, but obviously we are not tied to the same axis point. So the Smith machine will always run along the same vertical plane, whereas because we are in time and space and the barbell is free and able to move around according to where our body goes and according to where the barbell wants to go, then we need to pay particular attention on that and make sure that we're not going too far forward, not too far back. All right, so let's talk about the staggered stance or the split squat. Obviously, we will probably teach this from the ground up. What we are looking to do is actually start at a right angle. So we want to make sure that this is roughly where we are going to be. Now, when it comes to being in this position here, okay, what I tend to do is, knowing that this is my markers, I actually try to make a mark as to where my front foot's going to go each and every time, so I start to get repetitive placements and know my distances. I can do the same for my back foot, although I can't actually see my back foot when it comes to performing this exercise, because obviously I am facing towards you, and if I was to put my back foot back, I wouldn't know where it is. So I just tend to look for my front foot, tend to mark that spot, go, okay, that's where it was. Let's switch feet, and then that's comfortable for me up and down. Okay, so with any lunge, what we need to be aware of is that our body will tip from our hips, okay? So we need to make sure that we are traveling up and down in a nice straight line. So in order to do that, our back leg needs to be coming down at a right angle, so our torso and our torso and our knee and our hip are all in a line. So there are 3 points that I want you to make sure that you are keeping on top of and keeping aware of, that they are all in line, and that is your shoulder point, your hip, okay, or where the dimple is on your backside, and your knee. And if you have these three in line, we're traveling in a nice straight line. All that effort and loading is traveling all up in one direction, and you're not leaking energy. Where people tend to get themselves in strife is because they might have a deficient, I don't know, let's say hamstrings or glutes or whatever. They start to lean forward, okay, to try and load up this quad. Now, a few things happen as a result of that. One, by leaning forward, you're going to obviously rely heavily on the quads, which may stimulate the quads more, which is then just going to exacerbate the issue, and that is your glutes and your hamstrings might be deficient, and so you're just adding to the problem rather than solving the problem. You might find that you start loading up your lower back a bit more, because if I'm leaning forward into the quad, you can see I'm throwing off my shoulders. So point 2 and 3 might be connected, but point 1 might be well off if we were to draw a line straight up and into the air. And as such, at some point I have to pull this back with my back and then drive back up again. Okay, so these are little things that we need to be aware of, that we need to keep on top of before we then progress. Now, that takes us into our acronym stability. So obviously we're actually going to have really good stability with this purely because there's no dynamic movement. So with a walking lunge, we take that step forward. However, with this, because our feet are locked and stationary, we can actually get some really good stability through the ground. Now, with our stability, we need to make sure of a couple of things. One, that because we're in a staggered stance, the majority of the load is probably going to load up on this back leg, although this front leg, the back leg is still going to be in play. You're still going to feel that coming alive when you're coming down. It's a poor example. All right. Next, we want to make sure that we are still keeping our 3 points of contact through our feet and our inside of our knees traveling towards the outsides of our toe, just like we would with a squat where we push our knees out. We're going to be driving this knee out. Okay. Remember, this knee is going to go straight down. We're looking to keep ourselves nice and compact, nice and square on. We don't want to be twisting and turning too much during this lift. That works on our stability. Obviously, because the barbell is free, okay, we need to make sure that our shoulder blades are back and down, and we're keeping that nice tight body, and we're going to be positioning this bar at a high bar position. So it's going to sit up on the top of your traps. So everything is nice and locked and tight, and we're in our position here. We're going to screw our feet in, we're going to come down, touch, drive. Now we do want to touch, so that, and the reason why we want to touch, a few reasons. One, full range of motion, but two, what it will do subconsciously is you actually control your negative. And the reason why you'll do that is because you don't want to jam your knee on the ground. So it's a bit of a safety precaution as well. But by controlling your negative, you're going to put more time and tension onto those working muscles. You're going to feel those working muscles a great deal more, and then you are going to be able to drive out of the hole and feel and grow those muscles and get a lot more bang for your buck over the prolonged period of time. Remember, accumulation or stimulating that muscle for a longer period of time, or accumulating that stimulus over a longer period of time, is going to give you greater results. Okay, provided you follow progressive overload techniques and all the rest of that stuff. Okay, so let's quickly go through this exercise. So we're going to set up like we would a barbell squat. So we're going to look for our positions. We're going to pull our shoulder blades back and down. I'm going to stand up tall and have a high bar position. From here, I'm going to take one little step forward, one little step back. I'm going to screw my feet in. Okay, you can see this knee is coming out. I'm locking on. From this position, I'm going to control my negative down and take a big deep breath in, stabilize that midsection of the core. Oh, that's not where I want to be. Down, control, touch, drive. Again. Down, control, touch, drive. Drive. And we'll go through that over and over and over again. Okay, so that there is how you want to go about your split squat with a barbell. I hope you've picked up a few tricks and tips for today's tutorial. If you have any questions, by all means, shoot them through. But yes, make sure, so the take-home points, make sure 1, 2, and 3 shoulder points are all in a line where you're traveling up and down in the same direction, and don't be afraid to keep these hips a little bit more compact rather than being too far split apart, because when we do that, we start loading up that front knee, we start feeling a stretch in the back leg, and it just leads to a little bit of more disaster. So yep, that there, team, is how you want to go about doing your barbell split squats. I hope you picked up a few tricks and tips.